Afternoon, my name's Genteman with Connor's Car Shows. How this goes. Work for Boeing for a career, but my passion is these old cars, and this car is actually how Connor's Car Show got started, believe it or not, back in 2014. I acquired this car probably around 2007, 2006 time frame. Bought it from, believe it or not, a neighbor down at the end of the street. They had the car sitting in his front yard ready, off for sale. I think he wanted $4,400 for it, and I came by and looked at it, liked the car, asked to buy it. He says, I got somebody else that's buying it. He says, I'll put you in line. So I said, okay. I gave him my number, and I said, by the way, I'm leaving on a trip for business. I'll be back. He goes, okay. Well, he calls me about 6 hours later, and I'm in Phoenix. He says, well, the guy wanted me to finance it, so the car fell through. Do you want the car? I said, yes, I want the car, but I'm in Phoenix. He says, well, I'm not waiting. I got 14 people behind you that want the car. So what do you want? I said, what's it going to take to hold it? He says, 500 bucks. So I called my wife and said, hey, by the way, she had no idea I was buying a car, which that theme has continued on. I said, go down the neighbor, here's the address, give him $500. She says, for what? For a car I bought. She says, what car? I had to explain it, 65 Mustang, and she obliged. She says, okay. Went and got the $500, went down and gave it to him. He held it for a couple days till I got back, and came back and gave him the rest of the money. Him and his daughter had started this. She was going through divorce and needed to sell it and get money. And so I said, look, I'll take it. I'm going to rebuild it, get it going. And so he appreciated that. He liked the fact that I was a neighbor down at the end of the street. So I said, okay. Bought the car, got the house, started going to car shows, trying to get ideas about what to do, what I wanted to build. Kind of had a general idea, but going to car shows and talk to people helps you really develop what you want to build the car into in the end result. So I got some great advice from people along the way. Started ordering parts, and of course boxes are showing up at the house. My wife's going, how many more boxes are coming? How much is this going to cost? You know, all those things. Got to a certain point, and then my wife says, by the way, we're pregnant. And so I was like, okay. And as we started going along, we found out that our son was going to have special needs and heart problems and everything else. So this car got put on complete hold for about 1.5 years, 2 years, while we dealt with Connor's issues and walked him through everything he needed to do, multiple surgeries. After we got through the most of that, I want to say, I started working on the car again, but also recognized I couldn't do it by myself. So that's when I called a buddy, Grapevine Automotive, said, hey, I need some help. He says, bring the car to me. He says, you and I can do it together, or I'll do it for you. He wound up doing most of it. In all honesty, I'd like to say I did a lot of it. I did some. He did most of it, because that's his shop, that's his business. So I kind of went down the path of what I wanted to do, and then you don't realize what you're spending money on, how much. My initial thought was 10 grand. Well, that was that's a good starting point. Found out that the engine didn't match. Serial number was actually ground off. Other parts weren't original to the car, and so that's when I made a decision. I'm not going to restore it to original. We're going to do a resto mod, and so we started going down that path of full frame suspension upgrades, brake upgrades, engine upgrades, and of course that just adds dollars to the project, right? But it took 5 years, and I won't blame that completely on the builder. Some of that is I ran out of money. You got to start again. So as we're going down the path, we decided what to do with it. So it's got Global West coilover suspension on it. It's a match system for doing SCCA type racing, so which is what I wanted to build the car for. So it's built stiff. It rides like a go-kart, which I like. But you're adjustable for height and everything else with the coilovers. It did have a transmission out of an 80s Mustang that we rebuilt, and that's the one I broke, so that's why the Tremec's in there now. So a Tremec 5-speed, we broke the motor mounts on it. Went back through the engine because I didn't think it had enough power, so we went back through it and put on AFR heads. So right now, the builder says we're pushing about 500 horse on the car. It's a 331 stroker. I don't know if you can get that much out of a stroker or not, but it runs pretty good. Tires become a problem because they don't stick very well with that much power. It's got a Detroit locker rear end in it, four-wheel Willwood brakes, and it's got old air on it, so it does have AC. Works not bad. I wouldn't say great in the middle of summertime. You still get hot and everything else, but not bad. I decided to paint it a sport blue color, which is a factory Ford color, and the reason behind that was I knew I would chip it, I knew I would ding it, I knew I wanted to repaint it. I didn't want to have a special mix that was hard for another painter to figure out. So this is actually a 2001 sport blue color, and so that's what we painted it was that, so that I could just take that code and go, here you go, repaint it. It had a few other things to do along the way, but overall it's pretty much stayed the same. I will say this, I was talking to you earlier, is that the tires look like the period correct type, and so do the wheels. For SCCA type racing, they do not do the job. They slide, the rear end comes out from you, so If I really want to get into that doing it, which I'd like to do some more of it, I'm going to have to upgrade to a 17-inch wheel and stickier tires to do that. But right now it's just a lot of fun. This is the one I drive the most of everything. It gets up, cruises, never given me any problems other than the stuff that I keep breaking. So if I was nicer to it, I probably wouldn't break it, but it is what it is. So the only plans for this car really is I'm going to probably clean up the engine bay some more. I will probably look for 17-inch wheels so I can get a stickier tire on it. And then pretty much I think I want to say I'm done. I don't know if you're ever done with vehicles or not. This is a GT car, which is interesting because the GT cars came with the vinyl top. They came with dual exhaust out the rear pan instead of underneath it. And it came with front disc brakes. From the factory, it also had factory air conditioning with that great big box that you used to see on there. So I wanted to leave it again looking like a GT. That's why I didn't modify the outside a whole lot. I wanted to be a sleeper car. So the only giveaway is the stance if you're really paying attention, or if people look, they don't know what the 331 is. And so I have to tell them it's a 302 block that's punched out. But other than that, it's just been a fun car. It's a little older restoration. Like I said, we started on it around 2006 was when I started on it, completed it around 2012, 2013 timeframe. And then started our first show with it with Connor's Car Show in 2014, and now we've been doing that for 11 years. So,
keep up the hood?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, I had to redo a few things on this. This is a March serpentine belt system because I wanted to get rid of all the fan system. Got the electric fan. These are 185 flow AFR heads on there, which really boosted the horsepower quite a bit. So once I did the heads and a larger cam, I got about another 100 horse out of it, which was nice. It does have old air products on it, so the air conditioner's on here. Works pretty good. It's, again, older restoration, but it's very functional and works very good. The vinyl tops in the back in the days, they didn't seal them very well, and so they leaked. And so a lot of your vinyl tops, when you peel them back, it's just full of rust. We were very fortunate in this car that it didn't have rust, on the top anyway. The bottom had rust, so I had to redo the floor pans. This actually came out of a cornfield, is where the guy bought it from. And so he rescued it out of a cornfield. He actually he did a lot of the floor pan work before I bought it, but they didn't get very far with it because she was going through divorce, ran out of money. So what's interesting is I drive by the house all the time. He still says hi. The daughter says hi every once in a while she's there. So they appreciate the fact that somebody down the street bought it and that they've actually restored it and brought it back to life. So there was a lot of appreciation. So I've stopped by and talked to him. This guy's name is Tom. Super nice guy, retired from GM, and which is interesting, retired from GM but buys a Ford. But he's got Jeeps, he's got other stuff, so he's just a car guy. But it was nice that he sold it to me, worked out the deal. And then it's nice that he's just a nice guy that I go every once in a while and just stop by and say hi. And he wants to hear about the car and what I've done to it lately.